On that note, on that note, another one, Kremlin propagandists still feel at home in Baltic states. Lithuania, Latvia, and Estonia face significant challenges in combating Kremlin propaganda. Despite recent efforts by Baltic authorities to counter Kremlin influence, pro-Kremlin activists persist in their activities unabated, and propaganda publications steadily advance Moscow's agenda. Once again, a good article, but particularly a few things that I I don't quite get. Not only that, in Lithuania, Putin and Lukashenko serve thugs sort of operate, and yeah, apparently it's somehow fine, whatever. But apparently, several sort of propagandists, I was about to say journalists, propagandists are working both in like Lithuania, for example, or in Latvia, like not journalists, propagandists. Andrei Yakovlev, Andrei Solopinka, Alla Berezovskaya, and others. They're all sort of continue operating. Kremlin media journalists continue to reside and work relatively unobstructed in Riga, for example. So yeah, that's pretty interesting. Like I'm saying, one rule for one group of people, another for other. Yeah. Both Linderman and Berezovskaya hold the status of non-citizens in Latvia, which grants them special designation and a passport issued by the Republic of Latvia. Yeah, good, right? Pretty amazing. Like I'm saying, if you are just a regular schmo who wants to escape despicable regimes, and you are not so-called journalist, which you are fucking propagandist, Russian state media propagandist who support regimes both in Belarus and in Russia, and so on and so forth, right? Like you cannot, as a like I'm saying, as a regular schmo, you can't do it. Can't even enter the country to just move through it to some other place. While literal pieces of shit who work for the regime or were associated with the regime are actually not only working there but residing there inside the countries. That's the sort of weird. It's not weird. It's just bizarre. Bizarre sort of state of Baltic states, who, like I'm saying, are all against sort of regular Russian people, and then just allow actual people associated with the state to still be there. In any case, once again, the article will be in the description. So it's quite a long one, but quite a good read. So I would definitely invite you to take a look yourself. Yeah. And that's exactly sort of how the article ends. Restrictions for Russians, not propagandists, following February 24, 2022. Measures implemented by the Baltic states government predominantly mostly affected regular Russian citizens who were residing there for work or study purposes rather than propagandists. Latvia went even further by requiring Russians holding permanent residence permits to pass the Latvian language examination by September 1st. Estonian authorities ceased issuing resident permits, work permits, and business permits to Russians, and in July, a similar ban was imposed on the issuance of visas and residence permits for educational purposes. In April, the Lithuanian authorities enacted a law that also imposed restrictions on the issuance of new residence permits for Russians and Belarusians. The original bill was intended to prohibit the acquisition of real estate and citizenship for nearly all Russian citizens, with the exception of holding humanitarian residence permits. A recent analysis conducted by journalists from Estonian national broadcasting examined the evolving nature of Russian propaganda following the onset of full-scale war in Ukraine. The analysis revealed a growing trend of spreading disinformation rooted in the concerns of the Russian-speaking population about potential repressions by the authorities within Estonia. Well, if you think about repressions by the authorities within Estonia, go the fuck away to Russia. Of particular concern is dissemination of disinformation that fuels a narrative of Russophobia, which poses significant problems. Blah 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 blah. In any case, the article is worth a read just to understand the hypocrisy of Baltic states, where, like I'm saying, the propagandists are allowed to stay, Russians are not allowed to entry, or Belarusians for that matter, not allowed to entry, even with the purposes of passing through the country, and because obviously the countries are in Schengen, and so yeah.